We have been bringing you the very latest on the trial of Robert Crimo III from the very beginning. Now we are preparing for kind of the final chapter, legally speaking, nearly 3 years later. And this morning we are joined here in studio by Karen Conti. She is a Chicago trial attorney. She's also the author of Killing Time with John Wayne Gacy. She's here to break down a little bit about what we can expect from the sentencing hearing. Karen, good morning. Thank you for being here. As always, first off, okay, so it kicks off today. With so many victims in this case, how long do you expect this to go?
I expect it to go about 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
The victims have the option of either orally giving their victim impact statements, or they're going to submit them in writing to the judge. Some people don't feel comfortable talking in court. So I think the judge is going to keep a tight rein on this and not let people go on, but 2 or 3 days is probably how long it's going to take.
If they submit those impact statements, written statements, are they read aloud in the court, or are they just submitted?
They generally are not. They are taken into consideration by the judge, and they will be published at some point in the record. So they're a matter of public record, but they won't be read.
Okay. Big question here. He was a no-show, infamously a no-show for his trial. Do you expect him to even show up to look his victims and their families in the eye?
My guess would be no, and you're right. He didn't even show up for his own jury selection, which is pretty arrogant, and I'm sure it was against his lawyer's advice. But yeah, he's not going to want to hear these victims' families tell him what a scumball he is. And, you know, he's probably going to wait until it's his turn to orate, and he's probably going to tell this court and the world why he was entitled to do what he did, or that he was set up by the government, which is another theory that I think that I've heard him espouse.
So you would actually expect him to show up to speak himself?
I do. And his parents probably are going to speak as well, and expect them maybe not to take responsibility for some of this.
Yeah, we've been following the legal saga of his dad with the whole gun situation.
Right, right. And I think his mother's taking the position that there was a setup here. Yeah. So I think we're going to see some bizarre, dramatic things in this courtroom. I just hope that these victims' family members get some closure, if there is such a thing, by being able to orate and be able to tell the world about their loved ones.
In terms of the sentence itself, is there any possibility that he gets anything other than life in prison without the possibility of parole? Is that a done deal?
It's a done deal.
Okay.
No possibility. The law requires more than 2 murders. He's in jail. There's no question that that's what's going to happen.
You mentioned the judge might kind of put a clamp on things, not let folks go on and on and on. What are the parameters there?
There are no parameters, really, and the judge has complete control of the courtroom. So if someone is going on and on, or being, say, vulgar and all of that, the judge can put an end to it. But I think the judge is going to be very sensitive to these victims because they are traumatized by this whole thing. And I generally see victims act very appropriately and very in a measured way, and I think that even though they're going to be angry and they're going to say some rough things, I think they're entitled to say it. In your experience, these sentencing hearings with the victim impact statements, the trauma level for them versus the closure factor, kind of psychologically, how would you kind of break that down for us? When somebody who has been victimized by a crime testifies in court, that can be very re-traumatizing. Why? Because that person hasn't been convicted, and you're worried that that person might walk free.
Right.
And also, there's the crime scene pictures and all the horrific details. But this is different because he's convicted, they know he's going to jail, they now have power over him for the first time, and I think they're going to find it at least rewarding enough to put an end to this chapter.
Okay. Karen, thank you so much for your expertise. Good to see you in person as always. All right, it is 7:08.